I went to Mumbai, and my first question is about the show is very much focused on time. I wanted to know what is your relation to the passage of time.
Yeah, I think the exhibition Under the Sun in Mumbai is kind of very much about these chapters of time, And I was thinking of Andrei Tarkovsky's line, "Sculpting time," how cinema sculpts time. I was thinking about how these installations could kind of create landscapes of time that the viewer could kind of discover and adventure and kind of move through. When I was speaking to kind of local curators and artists, I realized there was actually this kind of opportunity for that city and the culture to kind of have more of a crossover. So I thought that this was an opportunity to really take seriously. And I felt that maybe if I could create artworks, or some of the works at least, it could be collaborations with that community or with kind of the Indian culture, it would be a way for myself to grow, but more importantly, to create new dialogues and new relationships.
So you met some Indian artists there?
I met artists at the time, but also after my first trip there to see the space, I spent a lot of time in the country, and I spent a lot of time kind of exploring Rajasthan and different artist guilds and craft guilds, and female silk screen collectives and things like that, and kind of just opening up and just kind of allowing oneself to be inspired by what's happening there, and to see if there's a possibility for future collaborations.
And what was the most striking about India for
I
your
think it's just such an incredible culture, and the root system, the depth of it for me was so profound. And it was interesting because much of the Indian tradition in terms of the image making is quite different from the Western tradition. The idea of how the narrative is blocked out in figures, the value of time and craftsmanship in terms of the artistry. In a lot of ways, we're very addicted to the canon of contemporary art. We really see things through the lens of like what's contemporary, and much contemporary art is kind of driven by concept. And I think one of the things I found in India was it was the artisanship, not the concept. It was the time it took or the intricacy. And that was something that I wanted to really revisit and kind of explore in this body of work.
And that's what you did with the level dedicated to the past?
Yeah, yeah, I wanted to kind of merge these two things and kind of merge this idea of something that was very traditional in its form, but also concepts that were very kind of future forward, that were really looking at kind of where we are, where we have been. The wood sculptures, for example, where every block of wood is reclaimed. They're from barges or discarded wood in junkyards, and we kind of brought them together, and then we've digitally milled them. And then when we only digitally milled them up to about 50%, and the rest is handwork. So they're a collaboration between the digital realm and the hand artisan, the hand craftsmanship.
But were you impressed by Mumbai itself?
I thought it was really interesting. It's unexpected. It's like a city that's like stacked on top of each other, like just layers and layers and layers of information. I think it's a relentless city. I think it's kind of brutal in a way, but there's
Sure.
also there's kind of a beauty in the chaos if you kind of surrender to it.
And the humanity there is so dense,
Yeah,
strong,
yeah, yeah,
and powerful
yeah,
and colored.
yeah. Have you been there before?
Yes, several times.
Yeah. And what did you think of it this time?
As usual, you need to go back to yourself to be quiet, because
Yeah,
in a way
yeah,
it's also very aggressive.
yeah. Very,
I
very.
wrote a long time ago a book about embroideries in India, so I
Oh,
interviewed
you got to send it to me. I'd love to read it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I interviewed the embroiderers in Mumbai for 10 days.
I should have talked to you 2 years ago.
But yes, that's really strong and fascinating. And so for the middle floor, you reuse something you have done before, right? That's the only floor which with the
Yeah.
work that you have done before. Could you speak about it?
Yeah, the second floor is the piece New Era, and New Era is a work which focuses on a single man who's in his 90s who is the inventor and creator of the cell phone and made the first cell phone call in history. And I felt like this was really important as kind of a new chapter for kind of where we're going. And that idea of a hyperconnective landscape, the idea of this complete connectivity. And India is whether you're rich or poor, you have a phone, and it's kind of one of these almost like democratic qualities where everyone's connected in this way. And I felt like kind of bringing that contemporary history of the phone and the mythology of that to that culture would be provocative and interesting.
And finally, the future. First, I love when you get in the room and there's a very nice man who say, "Welcome to the future," and he's very happy to say it. And um, could you speak about this one?
Yeah, the exhibition is really divided into three floors, but they're like chapters, almost like chapters in a book or a novel or a film. And when you finally rise to the third floor, you kind of come into the space which is void of imagery, void of narrative and representation, and it's purely sound and light. And I wanted this installation to really have no sharp edges, not to stop or start, but to be this kind of hypnotic continuum where you just kind of fall into the space. And I composed the music so that it was a kind of modal system. It was kind of a series of drones that would overlap, that would keep evolving and building or kind of breaking down. But it never really has a sense of beginning and end. And then I composed the light to kind of synchronize with the soundscape. And I wanted the light to be something that you would kind of fall into and you would kind of almost lose yourself in this kind of choreography of light. And there's actually there's almost images inside the light at times. There's one moment where it becomes there's a tree that we created, and you're kind of moving around and circling this tree, but you would never really see it with the human eye. You would just see like the outline and the form in abstraction. And I felt like I was struggling with that idea of how do you represent an idea of the future. And eventually I realized that it just had to be complete abstraction. And it had to be a space for the viewer to interpret, for the viewer to kind of fall into and really get lost. So I think the third floor is really without time.
But it's without time, but the future.
Yeah, I mean it's these are highly open to interpretation, and I don't want to illustrate something. I want to kind of give you a space to interpret.
Because exactly, the feeling is that it could be a threat or something very good.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
could be
yeah.
like a bomb falling down, nuclear or something,
Yeah, yeah,
but also something very positive, which give pleasure,
yeah.
make you quiet. And so what is after the future?
I don't have an answer for this.
I've been told there was a fourth floor you didn't use.
Yeah, the fourth floor is the future. The future of the future of the future. The ultimate question. I
The mystery of the future. And
love it.
on the three floors, you express yourself in very different way. Is that important for you?
Yeah, I don't really I'm not really attracted to working in one aesthetic or one medium. I'm not really attracted to kind of defining my work by formalism. So I felt like this exhibition Under the Sun was really a very liberating exhibition in that we could use stone and wood and tapestry, moving image, sound, light. It really was whatever it took to most articulately explore the concepts of the exhibition, as opposed to starting with a medium.
Hmm. And so what is the next step now for you? If you have explored everything, even the future and all the technique, what's next?
I don't think I've explored as much as I'd like to ever. I mean, I think right art is really kind of this, it's a tool. Art is a passport. Art is kind of a door that you could open. It's a space that you can use to kind of provoke and accelerate your curiosity. And I think in the end, art is eventually a bridge. It's a bridge to you, to someone else, to create a space that's a communal space, a space to share that has a kind of sense of electricity and dynamicism.
And what are you excited by now?
I think I'm excited by, it's a new year right now, and I feel like it's kind of a new chapter. And I really value kind of that idea of like when the new year starts. And there's kind of metaphorically there's an open space in front of you, and there's room to kind of really create new art and to kind of use that art to provoke others, but provoke yourself and challenge oneself. So I'm just excited to kind of be on that path and to go broader and wider with what we're creating.
And when you begin a work, you try to challenge yourself. You think I need to shake myself.
I think you have to challenge yourself, and I think if you know how to do it, don't do it. But I think if you I mean, really, if I think if you're willing to do something that could fail, that is unknown, that could collapse, then there's some kind of energy and excitement. And I love that idea that you can kind of step into a space that's unfamiliar, and you can see things, you can piece things together, one idea stacking on top of another, and you can see it kind of grow into something. But if you can also see that it's vulnerable, then there's some energy there. I kind of like that idea of insecurity and vulnerability being part of the process.
And so when you fail, what do you do?
It's exciting because you see something fall apart and then you build it in a different way. You remake it. You kind of take the pieces, and you restructure things.
And have you seen some reaction from the Indian visitors in the show?
Yeah, I was really humbled by the reaction. It was interesting. Like the opening was kind of this huge outpouring of of people who had not only came to visit it or other artists, but a lot of people who worked on it. There's so many collaborators from India who showed up, from the woodworker that was 4 or 5 hours away to the tapestry sewers. And I think for them, it was really this kind of beautiful experience where they're also, like myself, able to step out of what they do and to kind of have a completely different motif and landscape that they were exploring, a set of collaborations that didn't exist before this.
And so next, where shall we see you after Mumbai?
Where are you, Paris?
Yes, I'm based in Paris, but I think I could see you in where? In Saudi?
I don't know about that, but maybe I'll see you at Cafe Flore.
No, I don't go there anymore because it's very much with only tourists. It's already
Okay. You take me to your favorite place then.
okay. There's plenty of very good places in Paris to go now. So you have some plan in Paris? Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Judith.